going to do it my way, which I assume means torture in some way, but it's probably...
That could be torture.
Now it sounds more like it's 42nd Street.
Yeah, you're right.
Boy.
Crazy. Or the West Side Story.
When you're a Borg all the way. Hail, Internet. It's Paul, it's Matt, the Dork Lords. We are here talking about Picard. Season 1, Episode 2, Maps and Legends. Which I assume Maps and Legends, the legend of a map versus legends told around a campfire. We hear a lot about legends in this episode.
The legend of Jean-Luc Picard.
True. But we don't really see a lot of maps in this one. So I'm not sure.
We don't
but as you guessed, perhaps it's the fact that they need one.
Yeah.
So it's like, it'd be nice to have a map we could find Soji with. They don't. So we start this episode seeing a flashback to the attack on Mars. We end this episode with, we meet Narek and his sister and kind of learn more about the plot that's happening in the Borg cube. But, all right, so we start with the flashback. Attack on Mars. It is, first contact day? Something like that is what they call it?
Yes.
And we see that that's the reason this attack was planned on that day is because there's only a skeleton crew kept. Whoever has planned this attack thought, okay, let's do it on a day when we're not having a whole bunch of humans around. So it'll be easier for our synthetics to take over.
Yeah, I mean, we do know, well, we don't know how long that period takes where they were going to build the ships and then the ships would go away. So maybe in that time period, that's just a good day to do it.
Okay.
So it's not like we've been waiting for this part of the year for a whole year.
Oh, sure. I don't think they waited an extraordinary amount of time. They probably were just like, oh, we want to do this thing before the Armada goes away.
Right.
Oh, look, the day when 3/4 of the people will be gone. Do that one.
Yeah.
So we see that these synths are, in abundance and being used as robots. They have a look kind of like the original Data almost.
Yeah.
And they're not that advanced. I mean, their level of advancement seems about like first season of Next Gen Data, maybe a little less.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, obviously, even at the first season Data, he had his own cabin. These they don't.
Yeah.
And I guess it'd be interesting to see sort of a scale about exactly how much more interactive Data was at that time. I mean, he, famously throughout the series, he had a difficulty with humor. So
that's true. This guy, this particular, we have F8 Fate.
What?
Maybe a little on the nose, but okay, fine. But F8, he laughs at a joke, and then they're like, "Do you get it?" No.
Yes.
He has
I liked her. I like that little interaction though.
Yeah, he doesn't. You can tell he's not actually feeling or interpreting things correctly. He's mimicking. It's like he sees what he's supposed to do and he does that, which kind of makes sense.
Sure.
That's what, probably what Data was doing early on in his existence.
Yes.
So then we get this little banter with the humans saying, "Oh, this guy creeps me out," which very prophetic because very soon they're going to be killed off by him.
Yes, exactly.
So we see though that it's not just that he decides, oh, I'm going to go kill somebody. He gets some kind of a message. His eyes kind of go, and someone has sent him a code that turns him on, kind of an Order 66 Emperor Palpatine style, where he starts, does something. They turn the satellites around. They're causing all kinds of problems. When his fellow coworkers decide, hey, we should stop him, he takes... I'm not sure if it's even a weapon per se.
No, I think it's a mining tool or something.
Yeah, but it's an effective weapon.
Yes.
I'll say that, like, better than a phaser.
Yeah. And it's just sitting up there.
Wipes him out. And then as stuff's about to blow up anyway, we see him shoot himself in the head. I'm assuming in that situation it was, sure, he was about to be destroyed anyway, but just to make sure that the secrets inside, the messages in his head weren't found. Whoever put the little message for him to be a saboteur also was like, and when you're done, shoot yourself in the head so that we don't get the secrets
probably
revealed. So that was the synth. So we get it that the synths, we're pretty sure, are just a tool. That weren't like the synths all decided one day that we're gonna get sentient and pull a Cyberdyne Systems Skynet.
That's not funny at all. In fact,
right. You mocked me for not understanding your joke. Yeah. No. We see Picard talking to his servants.
Yes, or his employees, I guess.
Yeah. And they obviously have skill sets and connections and are much more than just like, oh, I'm just happy to be alive.
Yeah.
Like the female, she's got some tech that's like, what do you have that tech?
Yeah.
She's like, oh, we told you the stuff didn't work so you wouldn't question it. Actually, I can run a scanner across the room and see what happened in the past in the room. Like, whoa! Yeah. All right, woo! That's a big one.
Yeah, maybe that's like an ancillary episode that says the tech behind it.
Yeah. So,
look at those tachyons.
So we learn a lot in this conversation. It's a conversation that takes place in two parts. One is they're sitting around at Picard's place, and the other one they're at Daj's apartment when she was they attempted to kidnap her. And so, first of all, at her place, at Daj's place, they realized the area was scrubbed very well by some Romulan force, which we're about to find out who that is. They kind of do some CSI style, case cracking.
Yes.
And they figure out that the computer that Daj had, since her twin out there, Soji, looks exactly like her, talks exactly like her, the computer might be mistaken as to which one is which. And so by using that logic, they figure out that, yes, indeed, there is another Daj, a twin, that's off-world, that was trying to communicate, or was communicating.
Yes.
Sending messages back and forth. So we also know that Daj did know she had a twin.
Yes.
Which we theorized last week, but we weren't 100% sure. I think it's pretty much a surety now.
Yeah, well, that image that, when she was calling her mother, among the choices was her sister and her boyfriend. I'm pretty sure that is.
Good call. All right. So they were aware of each other.
She just strangely didn't talk about her.
Right.
That's all.
Right. Just
didn't really talk about her.
Didn't come up.
Didn't call her mother until well after she was attacked.
The other thing we learn in this conversation is that obviously we've got the Tal Shiar is the Romulan secret police. They've been in a lot of incarnations of Star Trek.
Yes.
But there is a deeper secret police, double secret police.
Yes, exactly.
And it's I believe it's the Zhat Vash.
Yes.
I might be mispronouncing that. That sounds right.
I think it does.
And they are
Zhat Vash.
uber secret.
Yes.
Which is interesting because we also see with Narek, he's so secretive.
Yes.
Right? When
yes.
They're trying to ask what he does. He's like, no, I'm not telling you. Nope. I'm like, nope. I'm not. Nope. So, playing up the Romulans are secretive.
Yes.
The Zhat Vash has been secretive for thousands upon thousands of years. That's what they say.
Sure.
So it's a long time. They are harboring a secret that would break the minds of Romulans to learn what the secret is. So that's a big deal. It's like H.P. Lovecraft or something in the mountains of madness. Anyway.
And thankfully, Matt will not keep his theory secret.
Right. I do have a theory on that. And actually, I typed my theory into Google just to see if I'm the only one with that theory. I'm not. There are other people that are like, yeah, this is the thing.
Okay.
So, before we get to that,
alone.
the Zhat Vash have a secret, hiding it for thousands upon thousands of years. If it was found out, it would make people go insane. And it has something to do with synths. They hate synths, and we're not sure why, but it has something to do with the secret. Also, apparently, they've been able to convince the rest of Romulan society not to use AI-style tech.
Yeah.
Because I get the feeling that Romulans as a whole don't necessarily hate synths. It's just this group does, and they've somehow managed to influence the rest of Romulan society.
Well, one of the things in a previous episode, a Romulan encountered Data and it was sort of like, I'd like to study you.
Yeah.
It's not typically something like, you disgust me, but
Right.
I'd love to put you under a microscope.
And then kill you. I'm sure there's got to be some, plot holes throughout the history of Star Trek. If that's what you're going with, that, like,
Sure.
for instance, that Romulans hate AI,
Yeah.
there's probably some good examples you could find where that's not the case. But this is kind of where they're going
Sure.
in this moment. Yeah, I'll just throw it out there. So here's the theory. It's thousands and thousands of years, and it's going to make a Romulan who hears this thing go crazy. So it's I don't think it's something that thousands and thousands of years ago they maybe looked into the future and saw that robots would eventually defeat Romulans. I mean, that could be a thing, but that's not. I don't think that makes you go crazy, especially if you're like, oh yeah, thousands of years from now, robots will win. Like, okay, well, my great grandkids will deal with that. Fine. For now, I'm a happy Romulan. So I don't think it's a future-based thing. I think it's a past thing. I think there is knowledge of, and it's got to have something to do with synths. So my thought is that they indeed, Romulans originated as synths. And perhaps you throw in the extra little caveat of, well, what are they most like? Romulans are close cousins to Vulcans. So perhaps Vulcans created synths that turned into Romulans eventually.
That's on the internet?
That is on the internet.
Wow. What?
Yeah.
As of this theory, is it just as a result of watching this episode, or
Yeah.
like 20 years ago somebody thought?
No, it's a Picard based. Yes, you're right. This is before Picard. This would never have come up.
Okay.
But it's just once this thing of like, there's a secret the Zhat Vash have, and they hate synths, and it would make people crazy to hear it. This is where it's
Someone else.
So I've also heard the other version of that, which is it's Vulcans who are the synths, and the Romulans made. I'm like, how would that make you crazy to hear that news? I don't know. Anyway, so anyway, if you've got some ideas, put them in the comments. Let's talk about the
It doesn't
theory.
feel as if they've had this lifelong antipathy to the Vulcans. They're like distrusting and we're cousins or whatever, but it doesn't feel like that's our goal is to get rid of Vulcan.
Okay.
To me.
All right. I mean, it has been. I mean, they don't like each other, but you're saying has it been throughout time? Yeah. They not like each other. I think you're probably right.
And it doesn't seem like it's like whatever they do, I'm gonna get these guys.
But what that leads to then is, let's say for a second, let's assume that theory is true.
Sure.
Oh, we originated from synths, and the synths were made by our enemies, and to have that information come out would make Romulans out of sorts. Why would they be trying to capture Daj and Soji then? I don't know what.
Not for the reason they're stating.
What is the reason they're stating?
Where are the others? Where did you come from?
Sure. Okay. But I mean, why are they? But they're trying to find those.
Right.
I think to capture them as well.
Right. And why do they hate them? Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
So it might be we hate them because they remind us of ourselves, that we loathe ourselves for being robots.
We're not gonna kill ourselves, but we'll kill other things that aren't us.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's still wonky. The theory isn't complete.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking that's the secret, and then why it's important then to capture, the best in synth tech.
And and she refers to them as abominations.
Yes. And you're right. I guess maybe part of the reason they want to capture Soji alive is so they can interrogate her to find out where the others are.
Yeah.
You're right. It's probably their main.
Yeah. Now, the reason why that abhorrence exists, it may be the situation of you aren't thinking, or you're trying to pretend that you're not something that you are. Since we were discussing it, I kept thinking about Planet of the Apes, where it's like, damn you dirty apes, like, oh yeah, we don't want you to think that there was any humans that were ever, decent or whatever, but they were in charge, and now we're in charge. I wonder if that's maybe more like, the situation where it's like, oh, they were normal, but now we're androids, and we don't want anybody else to be androids. They have more work to convince me.
Okay, all right. That's not a satisfying if it was all that was revealed, that would not be a satisfying kind of
No.
secret resolution thing to you.
No, but part of that, it just seems like it's really a lot to put on a race that we thought we understood.
Gotcha.
So it's like, wow, that's really daring if that's what they're doing.
And I admit that it might just be, lack of knowledge. It just felt like they threw out, there's a terrible secret that'll make people go insane to know what it is, and it has something to do with a hatred of synths. You're like, okay, well, there's only that narrows your window of what the secret could be, but okay.
That's, I mean, the whole thing about that, certainly I wasn't crazy about anyway. Like, I mean, the fact that it's still hard for me to get over the fact that, if that's the thing, like, we hate synths so much that we'll go to other cultures and destroy their synths. It's like, good God.
It's like, chill.
Just like, geez, you got your own, like, no. It's like, I guess that's why they're not crazy about all these other places anyway, and they're willing to go to war with them, because they're just like, wow, you're disgusting. Look at you use all this AI and everything, or you got, like, it's not like the androids are rampant in Starfleet either. It's like, up until that point, they weren't that. It wasn't until Next Generation that we had an android. So before that, what was their problem? It's like, you got the digital assistants on your ship? We must kill you! We don't trust you!
iPads! No!
No!
So there is this secret, and I assume we're going to learn the answer to that secret by the end of the season.
Yes.
We'll find out if that theory is correct or hooey, so we'll figure that out. But the thing we do learn is that Soji is off-world, and that is propelling Picard to be like, all right, I need to go get a ship.
Yep.
And get a crew. He visits a doctor the doctor was with him on the Stargazer back in the day, and
he wants
is trying to get a clean bill of health so he can take a ship. And he learns, you're great with one thing, which is that your parietal lobe, you got a problem, it's going to kill you any day. He didn't say any day, but he's like, it might kill you before the end of your mission, which is maybe a good thing, because where you're going, you're not telling me, but it's probably really dangerous.
Yes. That was an interesting exchange when he was like, you would go knowing, and it's like, okay, I guess the part of the sentence that he's not knowing that you could die, not on a vineyard, but out in space. And it's like, is that bad?
Maybe it's like knowing that. I mean, I could imagine, like, if you were on a small crew, which he's going to have in the ship.
Right, sure.
There could be some moment where you're in a really important, non-redundant type job, and you die, and the ship goes, yeah! Or you're piloting the ship, and you suddenly die.
Is that what you thought he meant?
No, I don't think that's
okay.
But I was trying to.
No, I thought you meant knowing that this is the rest of your life. Then
right, you could be out there and die out there.
Right. Yeah.
Like, yeah. Okay. Yes, I could. I'm gonna do this thing.
But yeah, I guess what the question that he's implying, I guess, is that you think of, like, how would you spend the rest of your life?
That's a good
what
point.
would you be doing
if you knew you had 3 weeks to live?
Right. What would you do?
Would you go do this trip? And he's like, yes.
Yeah.
Although those grapes need tending, as we know later. He's like, you need to stay and look at the grapes.
They need a lot of protection.
Because more than I do.
Yeah.
Those grape worms. Okay, so we know that he's. I don't know that it changes a lot of the math really for him. He's an older guy anyway, but he has this timeline now that he doesn't. At some point you have a thing that'll kill you.
Right.
I mean, we kind of all do in a way, right?
So is that Chekhov's diagnosis?
Yeah, good point. I think what that diagnosis is going to do, and this may not be I might be a little less than enthused when this happens, but I think it's going to be used when he has these dreams and visions and he gets angry, that people are going to be like, oh, he's going crazy. I think this isn't. It's a sign. Oh no, he's going crazy. So far, he hasn't gone crazy. I think they've been very. His dreams are. He can compartmentalize the dreams, and when he gets angry, it seems justified. So it's not that he's crazy, and people haven't assumed that he's crazy.
No.
But I'm just wondering, as time goes on, they're going to be like, he's crazy! And then you're like, oh, now you have to prove you're not crazy.
Except for that one part where his assistant there is like, are you demented?
Yeah.
This is such a dumb idea.
That's true. Although I think she was kind of half joking. But
she was half joking. But.
Yeah. Right. When he announces his decision to go, she's like, hell no. The Zhat Vash know you know about them, so they're going to try to kill you off now, and you're a target.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll jump to that real fast. So that's the moment where he's deciding to go. They recommend, hey, you could get your old crew, Riker, Worf, LaForge, which, by the way, by saying those names, I assume that means they're all alive.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
You could get a corpse.
Well, in other words, like, we don't have to see them. I mean, we are going to see at least Riker, but
and he didn't
it's
mention,
not like, and LaForge passed away.
He didn't mention Troy. It's like, all the people you mentioned were dudes.
Yeah. Oh, good point.
He didn't mention Crusher.
Crusher, yeah. Picard responds with, hey, I'm not doing that, because they would leap to say yes and then do the mission with me.
And we don't have that much of a budget, so...
Yeah, it did feel a little explainy.
Although another reason could be like, and look what happened to Star Wars when they brought too many of their old characters back.
Yeah, now his explanation is because he doesn't want to have them die on his watch, I think, is the idea.
Yes.
Which makes sense with the idea that he still feels guilty about Data's sacrifice, and so he sees other good friends, and he doesn't want them to go as well. If you play that out, what he's saying is, well, other people, sure. Let's go find this woman who I don't like, who doesn't like me, apparently, Raffi.
It's okay if she dies.
If she dies, that's fine. She's expendable. As long as it's not Riker. So it's a little weird in that way. Plus, it's just the idea of like, oh wow, there's some other very capable, competent. I can vouch for all their experience, and they will, on a dime, do what I ask.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, go with those people. But anyway, no.
I'm
gonna call up the woman who doesn't want to talk to me for some reason. Yes. We'll find that out, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure we will.
Something went wrong a long time ago.
Yeah,
she's probably a qualified, very talented, either a pilot or she has a ship. Probably.
Yes.
He needs a ship because the Federation's not giving him a ship.
Nope, they're not.
He goes to get a ship from them, and he's very matter of fact about it. Like, oh well, you can vote me to captain if that's better.
Yeah, since I'm only going to be in for a little bit,
Yeah, I need a ship with
if
more
it's
capability.
too distracting to have me come back as a admiral, I can come back as captain.
Yeah. He just plays it off, and the response is hell no.
Yeah.
Especially after the stunt you pulled.
The fucking hubris.
That was what she said.
Yes.
And they have it out. We hear a little bit more about the reasoning why the Federation didn't save the Romulans. Part of it was, look, after this accident, we didn't have the ships.
Right. But even before the accident, all the different species were like, no, they're our enemies.
14 members of the Federation were like, if you do that, we leave the Federation.
Yeah, right, exactly. So it's like, oh, great, the Federation's going to be disbanded as a result of this.
Yeah.
And then they were still doing it, and then when they lost the ship, it's like, okay, what the heck are we going to do now?
Right. It does
make...
it's not a moral black and white.
Yeah, maybe she should have had Picard's head scanned at that time.
And we hate Romulans. That was the main reason. While yes, you would like to save people that need saving, there are going to be these situations where, oh shoot, okay, despite our best intentions, bad tidings are on the way. Obviously, Picard still is upset about that. It's like that's that's a great moment where he says, "What? The Federation doesn't get to choose who live or dies."
Yes, yes, we actually do.
Yes, we do. So he gets turned out, but he does mention this secret and the Zhat Vash and stuff to her.
Yes.
So that later, when she communicates to this Commodore
O,
who may or may not be an actual, I think she's a Romulan disguised as a Vulcan. Is my guess. We don't know that for a fact.
No,
it could just be a Vulcan.
Could. Because one thing that they were saying is that it's not just in this Zhat Vash group. It's not just in Romulan. You know?
Yeah. They put spies
Yeah.
into. They even mentioned the Gorn hegemony.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, all right. So the Gorn are out there with their own government, and so they've Klingons and a Federation, obviously, because we see that this Commander O or Commodore O, whatever. She seems to be a member of the Zhat Vash, and she is commanding another spy who is a Romulan disguised as a human, and that is Narek's sister. She calls him brother at some point, so we'll say that Narek's sister.
Yes.
I think it's
little brother.
Lieutenant Rizzo or something like that.
Yes, it is Rizzo.
So
just like Grease.
Correct. She's wearing a pink lady's jacket.
Tell me more. Tell me more.
And that's kind of what she wants out of Soji.
That's true.
She's going to do that. When she's like, hey, if you haven't figured it out by the time I get there, we're going to do it my way.
Yes.
That'd be great. Take my money, CBS, if you do that. Okay. O tells Rizzo, he knows that he's been mentioning the Zhat Vash by name.
Yes.
We need to do something about that guy. Also, you need to go and make sure that your brother doesn't screw up Soji the way you screwed up the Daj thing. They wanted to capture Daj, and then obviously she was killed.
Right. So Rizzo offers to go take care of Picard, and Commander O is like, I'll take care of him if he becomes a problem.
Good point.
She said, I think he was suitably discouraged. No, he has not been discouraged.
Okay. That's a good point. I forgot about that moment.
Yeah.
So
she's
they're like,
if he
no,
does
we're not going to kill him.
If he does become a problem, Commander O will take care of it.
Because
probably want to do it in a way that doesn't look like, and then somebody killed him. Maybe we should look into this thing. It's like oh no, probably make it look like an accident or the result of some crazy old man.
Because in the history of Picard's life choices, we've always seen how when told, hey, you can't do that thing you really want to do, he just stops. And then he doesn't try to continue to do the thing he feels passionately about.
Oh, well, I cracked open this file and
I'm discouraged.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm done. So unwise on O's part.
Yes.
I would say on that moment.
Yes.
But so Rizzo then contacts her brother via hologram, and is like, hey, get information from Soji before I get there, or I'm going to do it my way, which I assume means torture in some way, but it's probably...
That could be torture.
Now it sounds more like it's 42nd Street.
Yeah, you're right.
Boy.
Crazy. Or the West Side Story.
When you're a Borg all the way. So let's take it to the Borg. They're calling it the artifact.
They are, not the cube. X cube.
It was apparently. I watched the interview with Akiva Goldsman, and he described a little more background on it. It was found in Romulan space.
Yep.
So the background doesn't include how it was defunct.
No.
But it was defunct in Romulan space. It is now. It's not a secret. I was wondering whether it was a secret.
No.
But there's all kinds of races that are sent in to deal with this thing.
Yep.
And so they're stripping it for tech.
Yep.
But there's a big project, almost like a Doctors Without Borders kind of thing, where people of different races and such are coming to try to reclaim. It's probably the part of the reclamation project to free the Borg victims, essentially. And so we see one of those Borg things being deborged.
Yes.
And that's a really important moment.
Yeah, we see at one point one of the deborg people working on the artifact, presumably maintaining or whatever. Yeah, there's a shot of him with things on, but you can see the little things in his face.
Okay, all right. So this we'll call it the cube, but the artifact.
Yeah.
So the artifact is apparently disconnected from the Borg collective at this point. We'll talk about that in a second. But at this point, ain't no communication happening. They think it's dead, a graveyard. And in this graveyard, we've got all these different races mingling. It's a Romulan thing, but there are, as we see, all these different, I think I said an Andorran in there.
Yeah, there's a Trill that she meets, which was interesting that the way that was set up, because she said, "Oh, first I wasn't gonna come, or they told me I shouldn't come, but then I was able to come, or whatever," which is very interesting that they set that up.
Yeah.
And it's like I wasn't going to be here, but then I was going to be here. So I don't know if that means it's they're just setting you up for another person who's not on her side, or if it's just like, okay, this is the person who's going to die in the next movie.
Yeah. We set somebody up with a little backstory.
It's like one of the things we see.
I wasn't even supposed to be here.
Yeah, is a sign that talks about the last time there was.
No assimilations.
Yeah, so maybe she's the right person who's going to get assimilated.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. So Narek, who, they're sleeping together, but he's not telling her anything about his backstory.
No. Which, you would, it's like, if he wants to get information from her, he's not exactly trying to build up trust.
Right, exactly. He's coming off very untrustworthy.
Yeah. It's like, well, this is all about sex, right?
Okay, yeah, you would think.
It's just like she's, trying to...
Even if, as you put it, let's say he was lying about the brother.
Right.
Well, then keep lying. Like, in other words, oh, yeah, here's some more about me. What about you? But like, no, he's being very standoffish. Anyway, but he wants to watch her work and see what she does with this, deborging folks. So he's watching while she's there. She's in the medical theater, and when she brings this individual back, first of all they call them a nameless because they don't necessarily know where they're from.
Huh.
And so she's like, I don't really like that term. It's like, well, nameless is a name, so we're going to call them nameless. And then she says something like, welcome to your freedom, or something like that. Welcome back, or something, in this language that must be this nameless creature's language. She didn't know where he was from.
Right.
But somehow she knew his language. So
yes.
Your point, I thought, was a good one, which was that it's probably her androidness kicking in, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
And the fact that Narek is there to witness it, I think is like,
Yeah, he tweaked on that, obviously. And the scenes we saw from the next episode, it was also Hugh who's noticing that too.
Yes, we saw a little, next time on, and Hugh is talking to Soji about that very moment and saying, oh, yeah, you talked to them in their own language. I think he's trying to say, like, oh, you showed them kindness in some way, or like treated them like people, as opposed to, it's the nameless drone that was once in the collective and now we'll throw into this. I think the fate of those folks is going to be somewhat similar to the synths, right? The synths, after that uprising, are now treated as, we don't make them, and they're, I don't know if they're completely off limits, but something like that. They're second citizens in a way,
right?
Whereas, and I feel like the same thing with these former Borgs, which they are victims. I mean, they were just, I'm a person on a planet, and now suddenly I've been captured.
The synths are banned, so they shouldn't even exist.
That's a good point.
And these people, they're probably just refugees, but I would imagine that it's difficult for them to integrate into, after the trauma that they've experienced.
Right.
And
plus what they represent to others, as people say, oh, you're a Borg.
Right.
Like, it's not like, oh, you're Jerry.
Right, yeah. So then I would assume, then the challenge of whether or not, how fully they're accepted.
Like the 7 to 9 issue, when she was first on board on that show, it was like, you're a Borg.
Right.
We don't trust you.
Right, yeah. Yeah. And, it's interesting that, the first scene has that one person who's just like, I don't like him. It's just very cut and dried, and like, wow, do you ever examine your prejudices? No. Wow.
All right, so let's bring up then the fact that when we have this introduction and Soji meets the Trill and is like, oh, here's what you do on a daily basis, and they're going through the warning protocols.
Yes.
It's like, oh, here's your badge. If it turns green, start running.
Yep.
There are parts in this ship where you could still get assimilated, essentially. Don't wander into these X, Y, and Z areas. Yeah. So that's going to happen.
Yeah,
right?
I would think.
Okay, so as you put it, maybe the Trill is your likely candidate for, oh, she got assimilated. Yeah. Why did she go into the green zone or whatever? Is it possible that this ship gets back in contact with the Borg? Do we think that that's a thing where the Borg will then come back for the ship at some point? Somebody's like, oh, let me just fix this guy. I'll unplug him and, oh, what did I do? Oh, it's a beacon. And the ship goes on and then, bad things happen.
I don't.
Okay. I kind of don't either, but I think it's the fact that they brought it up multiple times of it's disconnected. It's fine.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, what if it becomes connected? Like, it seems like if you disconnect it and you're still playing with it and it's still parts of it are active, couldn't you accidentally turn it on, or couldn't it, like, defenses kick in and it turns itself on? I don't know. I feel like that is a potential plot line where, oops, all right, the Borg are on their way. We've got 5 days. I don't know, whatever, however long it takes to 5 lunar days. That's how long it takes the Borg to show up.
Okay.
So you think more the problems will be more self-contained to that cube? Like, there's an assimilation defense mechanism that'll kick in, but it's not going to be a multi-story arc. It's going to be a one episode.
Wouldn't think so. It just seemed like that would be a lot for this season already, that they were already established. So, I could see maybe, maybe in another season.
Yeah, maybe that's a cliffhanger for the next season where it's like, we solved the problem of the Zhat Vash, and but look, the cube's on. Wow, 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 wow.
Yeah, that's the question. I think the conclusion they must have to come up with is where Soji, where they came from, exactly what they were trying to do. So, obviously they're hiding, but I would assume that's part of a greater plot. So I can't think of them leaving the first season without explaining that. But then it's curious whether or not they'll also deal with the Zhat Vash in that first season, whether or not that might be a continuing thing, because it's not like they got rid of the
Tal Shiar.
It's not like they got rid of them in the season.
Sure.
So
you just get rid of certain members.
Right, exactly. So maybe once.
But once the secret's out, though, then it's like, we've been harboring the secret. Oh, the secret's out.
Yeah, they might lose interest at that point, or they may be able to get information that they want. Zhat Vash, and then decide, okay, we're not going to pursue them anymore, or whatever. Maybe they'll have protection from the Federation. I mean, whether or not the Federation reverses their ban on artificial humans, I mean, obviously, Soji is more of an argument to do it than Data ever was.
To do it
to release the ban on synthetics, because she's clearly she'll pass that test that like
sure, the trial.
Yeah, the trial. She'll pass that easy. Yes,
the Turing test.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Maybe her
so.
hands don't come off as easily, or she can't be clipped off. You'd think those guys would have done that if that was their choice.
That's a good point.
Like, we don't want her to be activated.
No, wait, shoot her. Put a bag on her head. Speaking of which, I think you mentioned that test to the trial. Maddox still out there somewhere. They name dropped him again.
Right. So presumably all that's going to be resolved. But
I got to guess that he is, he could be dead, but he's probably not. I think they name dropped him enough. He is with this nest.
Right.
And he's in hiding with the synths.
Presumably making more, right? It's like, why would he stop just at 2, So, and obviously it's more than 2 because they think there's more.
Do they all look like Daj and Soji, though, I wonder? Maybe.
I presume they wouldn't, only because... I mean, that would make it even less special. We only got 1 left. No, we don't. We've got 12.
There's 18 of them.
Yeah.
So just take your pick.
Yeah, you've had that, right? 18 tuplets. 4.
All right. Okay. Well said.
That naturally occurs.
But it's like, we lost Soji. But look, there's Billy. Yeah. There's Johnny.
Millie
and Manili.
Yeah.
So that also sets up the idea that maybe there's other synths that are actually posing right now as humans.
Right. Yeah. So that might not even be resolved. I mean, they might find out answers, and
we're gonna find that out in Westworld 3.
I kind of feel as if that it probably isn't going to be resolved in the first season, where they'll decide, now we're happy with synths, but maybe there'll be a refugee type situation where they're going through a process, and so it'll be like, okay, for now we're okay, but
Speaking of which, I mean, I just mentioned this Westworld 3. Westworld Season 3 is coming out, I think, in March.
Yes.
So it's right at the tail end of this show.
Sure.
And we're going to be covering it. But
we will.
It's since out in the real world being hunted down.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty much a continuation of this story idea.
Well, obviously, and Humans, right? You know?
Yeah.
That was the BBC show. So, yeah.
Anyway, so cool.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts before we depart, sir?
No.
That was Picard, episode 2. We'll be back for episode 3, and we are covering the season finale of The Expanse.
Yes.
Coming up next. So thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next time.